Welcome to the DX Today podcast, where you get facts and no hype.
I'm Chloe, and today we are diving into a report that, quite frankly, Ryan, is a bit of a wake-up call for anyone in the corporate world. We're talking about the stealth revolution, specifically the rise of shadow AI as the primary security threat of 2025.
It's more than a wake-up call, Chloe. It's a systemic failure of governance. We've spent the last 2 years enamored by the productivity promises of generative AI. But while the C-suite was busy dreaming of trillions in economic value, the workforce was busy bypassing every security protocol in the book.
Right, and that's what we mean by shadow AI, right? For those listening who might only know shadow IT, how are we defining this in 2025?
It's the use of AI tools, platforms, or even simple browser-based models without formal IT approval. Think of an employee who's frustrated with a slow internal process and decides to just paste a sensitive financial report into a free version of ChatGPT or Claude to summarize it.
And the data says this isn't just a few rogue employees. The report mentions that 75% of knowledge workers are using AI tools now. But, and this is the kicker, 78% of those users are engaging in bring your own AI. They're literally sneaking these tools into work.
Precisely. According to IBM's 2025 intelligence, shadow AI-related incidents now account for 20% of all global data breaches. And if you think that's just a cost of doing business, think again. These breaches are increasing the average cost of a data leak by roughly $670,000.
Wow, $670,000 as a shadow AI tax. That's significant. But I want to go back for a second because the report spends a lot of time on the historical context. Ryan, you've been tracking shadow IT for 20 years. How is this evolution different? Is it just the same old story with a new name?
Not at all. Shadow IT was static. If an employee used an unsanctioned Dropbox account in 2010, the data just sat there. It was a storage risk. Shadow AI is dynamic. These models are designed to ingest, process, and crucially, learn from the data they are fed. When you put data into a public-facing model, it doesn't just sit there. It potentially becomes part of the training set for the next iteration of that AI.
So the data is essentially leaking into the collective intelligence of the tool itself.
Exactly. And the driver here isn't malice, it's desperation. We're seeing a 68% increase in workload pressure and pervasive employee burnout. In 2024, we called it the year of experimentation, but in 2025, it has become the year of implementation by any means necessary. Employees are using tools like Perplexity or Gemini to manage emails and coding tasks just to keep their heads above water.
And while they're trying to stay afloat, the security teams are drowning. The report says 97% of organizations that had an AI breach in 2025 lacked proper access controls. That's almost everyone.
It is everyone, essentially. If you don't have visibility, you don't have control. Let's look at the sheer scale of this. Web traffic to Gen AI sites surged 50% in the last year. We're talking over 10.5 billion visits in January 2025 alone.
10.5 billion in 1 month?
Yes, and Netscope is now tracking over 1,550 distinct Gen AI applications. To put that in perspective, that's a 400% increase from early 2024. Zscaler recorded a 3,464% year-over-year increase in AI-related transactions through their security clouds. The floodgates aren't just open, the dam has burst.
Let's break down the specific threats because the report gets really granular here. First, there's the copy-paste crisis. I found this part fascinating and terrifying.
It's the simplest move a user can make and the most dangerous. Menlo Security logged over 155,000 copy and 313,000 paste attempts into AI tools in a single month. We're talking about 22% of users pasting non-public financial reports or customer PII, personally identifiable information, directly into consumer-grade bots.
And once it's in there, it's gone. It's in the public cloud. But there's also a threat to the actual code being written, right? The report mentions something called vibe coding.
Vibe coding. It sounds trendy, but for a CISO, it's a nightmare. It's high-speed AI-assisted development. While 99% of cloud-native organizations are using AI to write code, only 18% of security teams can actually keep pace with that volume.
So we're building software faster than we can secure it.
Much faster. We're seeing a surge in insecure code being pushed to production. Malicious actors are even targeting AI platforms like Hugging Face with malware, poisoning the models that developers are using to build the corporate infrastructure. It's a supply chain attack on steroids.
And it's not just the tech side. The human element is being exploited too. IBM X-Force reported an 84% increase in info stealers delivered via AI-enhanced phishing.
This is where shadow AI becomes a weapon for the adversary. If an employee is using an unsanctioned tool, they often bypass multi-factor authentication. Attackers use AI to create perfect, personalized social engineering lures. They don't have to hack in anymore. They just use AI to get a valid login. In 2025, valid account abuse is the #1 entry point for attackers.
It's a lot to take in, and we haven't even touched on the legal side. With the EU AI Act now in full effect, these shadow practices aren't just security risks, they're legal liabilities.
Massive liabilities. 71% of organizations were fined for data breaches or compliance failures in the last year. Many of those were linked directly to unmonitored PII flowing into public AI models. You can't tell a regulator, I didn't know my employees were doing that. In 2025, ignorance is not a defense.
So what's the move here? If blocking these tools outright doesn't work, because let's face it, employees will just find another way, how do companies regain control?
The report calls it Enlightened Governance. The block-first mentality of the 2010s is dead. If you block ChatGPT, your employees will move to one of the other 1,500 apps Netscope is tracking.
So step 1, continuous discovery?
Exactly. You need CASBs, Cloud Access Security Brokers, and browser-based security tools to see what's actually happening. You can't manage what you can't see.
And step 2 seems to be giving them a safe version of what they want. The report mentions that 28% of employees use shadow AI simply because their employer hasn't provided an approved alternative.
It's about path of least resistance. If you provide an internal sandbox or an enterprise-grade license for something like Microsoft Copilot or ChatGPT Enterprise, the incentive to go off-grid vanishes. You get the productivity, but the data stays within your tenant.
I also like the idea of user coaching instead of just a big red X on the screen.
That's a 2025 best practice. Instead of a hard block, the system triggers a pop-up. If an employee tries to paste a spreadsheet with credit card numbers into a public bot, the system interrupts and says, hey, this contains sensitive data. Please use the sanctioned enterprise AI instead. It's real-time education.
It sounds like a shift in culture as much as a shift in technology.
It has to be. Gartner is predicting that by 2030, over 40% of enterprises will experience a major security incident linked directly to shadow AI. We are at a crossroads.
It's the tension between efficiency and safety. The productivity gains are real. They're essential for staying competitive. But that $670,000 tax per breach, that's a heavy price to pay for moving fast and breaking things.
Moving fast is fine. Moving blind is what gets you killed. The companies that thrive are going to be the ones that integrate AI into their security DNA. They'll turn the shadow into a transparent, governed engine of innovation.
Well, that is a powerful place to wrap things up. The report is clear. Shadow AI is the defining challenge of the mid-2020s.
It's the stealth revolution, Chloe, and it's already inside the building.
Thanks for joining us on DX Today. We'll be back next time with more facts and no hype.